By Worldwide News, May 16, 2025, in a dramatic turn of events that could reshape U.S.-South Africa relations, President Cyril Ramaphosa is scheduled to meet U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House on May 21, 2025. The meeting, set against the backdrop of the controversial resettlement of 59 white South Africans in the U.S. under refugee status, is being described as one of the most politically charged engagements of the year. But beyond the headlines, what does this mean for South Africans? Is this about race, diplomacy, or something deeper? More importantly, what's in it for ordinary South Africans? South Africa emoji. The backstory: a controversial refugee deal earlier this month, the U.S. government approved asylum for a group of Afrikaners, citing claims of racial persecution in South Africa. President Trump referred to alleged genocide against white farmers, a narrative widely dismissed by human rights observers and the South African government as inaccurate and politically motivated. In sharp contrast, President Ramaphosa lashed out, labeling the asylum seekers as cowards unwilling to participate in the ongoing transformation of post-apartheid South Africa. The government insists that land reform and economic redress policies are not aimed at racial targeting, but at addressing long-standing historical injustices. This move by the U.S. has been perceived in Pretoria as a direct interference in South African domestic affairs, igniting a fresh wave of diplomatic tension. U.S.-South Africa relations at a crossroads. The upcoming meeting is not just about refugees. It symbolizes a larger diplomatic showdown that touches on human rights narratives, racial politics, geopolitical alignments. Relations between the two countries have been cooling off for a while, especially after South Africa pursued legal action against Israel at the International Court of Justice and showed warm ties with Iran and Palestinian leadership. Now, with the refugee row on the table, the stakes are higher than ever. According to Ramaphosa's office, the visit is a chance to reset the strategic relationship between the two nations, words that hint at both reconciliation and reckoning. What's in it for South Africans? Despite the tension, this high-level meeting could offer significant opportunities for South Africa if navigated strategically. 1. Securing trade and investment. South Africa is the U.S.'s largest trading partner in Africa. With the upcoming renewal of AGOA African Growth and Opportunity Act in 2025, Ramaphosa could negotiate favorable trade terms that preserve jobs and boost exports, particularly in textiles, automotive, and agriculture. 2. Reaffirming sovereignty. By challenging the refugee narrative and defending national policy direction, South Africa is reinforcing its sovereign right to shape its transformation agenda. If managed diplomatically, this could boost South Africa's image as an assertive and independent regional power. 3. Rebuilding global trust. Given its active stance in global human rights, climate diplomacy, and peace mediation, South Africa has a lot to gain by demonstrating its ability to handle difficult conversations on the world stage. The meeting gives Ramaphosa a platform to rebuild bridges with Western powers while staying true to African priorities. 4. Protecting multilateral interests. As a member of BRICS and an advocate of Global South interests, South Africa can use this meeting to align U.S. cooperation with Africa's broader development goals, including health, education, and infrastructure funding, especially critical after PEPFAR funding cuts that hurt HIV response efforts. Risks and red flags. Of course, the meeting isn't without danger. If the dialogue collapses into a blame game or ideological conflict, South Africa could lose diplomatic ground or face retaliatory actions like trade sanctions or reduced development support. Additionally, the U.S. decision to fast-track white refugees has raised global concerns about racial bias in refugee policy, a matter that Ramaphosa may be forced to confront bluntly. Public sentiment. Mixed reactions across South Africa. The public response is mixed. Some view Ramaphosa's trip as courageous diplomacy, while others fear it could descend into political theater. On social media, Hashtags like hashtag not in my name and hashtag Afrikaner Asylum have trended for days, with sharp debates on justice, equity, and identity. More than a meeting, this isn't just a presidential handshake, it's a test of how nations navigate justice, history, and diplomacy in a deeply polarized world. For South Africans, the outcome could influence everything from the price of maize to visa rules for travel, from rural development projects to international reputation. Ramaphosa is walking into Washington with more than a political agenda. He carries the hopes of a nation that refuses to be defined by its past or dictated to by outsiders. Follow Worldwide News for continued updates on this story. Join the conversation. What do you think should be Ramaphosa's top priority in this meeting? Drop your thoughts below.